Hey team, I'm Alex and welcome to the channel. For years I have had an interest in all things engines, having built and restored a few ranging from a 3.5 litre V8 down to a single cylinder lawnmower engine. I've always wanted to build a model internal combustion engine, acknowledging this would be a challenging project. Background reading has consistently stated to try some model air-powered engines first to get a feel for working at this scale, which I did, and also a Stirling engine. I did think about buying a kit as an option, but wanted the challenge of machining all the parts myself. Choosing which model to make wasn't easy. I would dearly love to make a V8, but common sense told me to start simple. So I chose the Powerhouse single-cylinder 4-stroke engine from the JE Howell range. Once ordered, I received a 20-page PDF set of drawings, the rest being pretty much up to me. So let's make a start. Stage 1 will focus on the engine frame. This is comprised of an aluminium base plus a spine and an outer bearing support side, which essentially sandwich the flywheel, and there's a front section that holds the cylinder in place. The base is a simple part to make. Once blued up and cut to size, a slot is machined to allow for the flywheel. Mounting holes are then drilled and tapped 632 to cater for the engine spine, side and front frame. Moving on to the outer bearing support side, we initially start with the part oversize, and the holes for the bearing caps are machined out. With that done, a slitting saw can then cut off the piece from the top that would become the bearing cap. Once that's done, the previously machined holes in the main body of the side piece are then tapped to depth, and the bearing cap piece itself is then machined to its required height. This then allows for the two parts to be reaffixed together with the cap bolts. And with that done, the hole for the bearings can be machined. And it's done this way to avoid the thickness of the slitting saw ruining the perfect circle you might have previously machined should you have tried to cut that hole first with the part as a single piece. Now for some profiling and shaping of the part. The sides are angled, leading to feet sections for mounting to the engine base, and as there's quite a bit of material to remove, this is initially rough cut out on the bandsaw, and then it can go back in the mill and be milled to dimension. The angled sides are at 9 degrees, so use was made of the angle blocks to facilitate this. With these angles cut, the feet of the side support are side milled to dimension, resulting in a nice curved profile at the base. The bearing cap is also side milled, so it sits flush with the top of the angled sides. And finally, the last remaining job is to machine the mounting holes in the feet of this part, and that's it done. The engine spine was made following the exact same process as for the bearing support, so to save all the machining footage of that, here's what it ended up like. The final piece to machine is the front face. This is bolted to the engine spine and engine base and holds the cylinder in place. The piston conrod runs through a central hole to the crankshaft that runs through the engine spine and sides. Once the blank had been cut from stock, the first task was to clean it up and machine it down to dimension. And with this done, and after applying some blue, layout lines were added onto the foot of the frame. These holes were drilled out deeper than required as a large section of the front of the face is to be milled away. This will then leave the required lower profile of the frame with these holes in the right position to mount to the engine base. With this lower half now complete, the face of the frame is the next job. This has 3 vertical holes for attaching to the engine spine, which were machined first and then opened up deep enough to accept the cap of the securing bolts. A marker was also centre drilled, which will be the centre of the hole that the cylinder will mount to. Once that was done, a quick test fit on the engine base and spine showed that this was going together okay. It's now time to move to the rotary table for the remaining few pieces. A large central hole for the cylinder, plus 4 surrounding holes for the cylinder mounting studs and a curved top profile. With the centre of the table established, the frame can be easily positioned above it using the centre drilled hole as an alignment aid. I now need a reference for the 4 cylinder mounting studs on a 1.6 inch diameter circle. So I used the rather blurred indicator to ensure that the base of the frame was in line with the mill table. And with this done, I could read the angle on the rotary table and use this as my 0 for the circular cutting jobs ahead. So dial in the offset for the mounting studs at the 1.6 inch circle, and then simply rotate the table around the required angles to allow the 4 holes to be drilled and machined out. Easy. Next up is then machining the curved top profile. Again, that's now easily done now that the table is all set up and dialed in. I almost forgot to tap the holes in the frame for the cylinder mounting studs, but got that sorted too. The last job is to machine the central hole for the cylinder to fit in. This is a 1.251 inch diameter hole, so I drilled out an initial 6mm hole to start with, and then we'll work up through the drill sizes. It so happened that the rotary table height does not allow all of my drills to fit within the vertical constraints of the mill. So I moved the lathe and mounted the frame on a faceplate to get the majority of the drilling done, then back to the mill to finish off. And with the drilling done, the remaining material was removed with the boring head, allowing an accurate final dimension. And that's bang on the money. Very happy with that. And that's the frame and base complete and fixed together. I'm very pleased with how all that has come together. And the next job is to machine the cylinder and cylinder head. And to do that, I have a chunk of cast iron round bar inbound. So I'll get to it soon. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.